Today, I'm excited to welcome Bjorn to the show, all the way from Norway. Welcome to the Bitcoin Edge, Bjorn.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
So before we get to Bitcoin, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I live in Norway, in the east side, close to the Swedish border. I'm 39 years old. Yeah, that's pretty much. I'm into Bitcoin. I'm studying economics by fiat economics at the side, and also work in some supply chain in some sports equipment. So that's my background.
Well, with that background, you mentioned that you were studying economics. How did you
Yeah,
find Bitcoin?
I got bored during COVID, like many others people, and then a friend of mine got into Bitcoin, and he told me about it. And then I got in, hopefully to get rich overnight, but that didn't happen. But now I'm getting rich slowly. And I started study economics at the same time. So it was a two-headed race, actually. This was quite interesting.
And the economics you studied, was that the typical Keynesian economics?
Yeah, the macroeconomics was very Keynesian, state-governed and money printing and planned economy, like the Soviet Union almost.
Yeah, we all learn that, right? Unless we
It's a
go
bit
on our
scary when you think about it, but it's so normal that people learn about it, so it's just normalized. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I didn't realize how it all came about until I read the Bitcoin Standard.
Yeah, and then it just clicked, I think, for many people.
Did you also read that in other books?
Yeah, I read it a bit later, but I got into some YouTube and read some Safeddin's articles and podcast, and yeah, and then aha moment, just wow, this is it.
So did you get Bitcoin pretty quickly? I know you said you came for number go up like we all do.
Yeah, I came around when the price was around 20K, I think, in maybe early 2021. And then it suddenly went to 69K in November, I think. And then we're back to 16K a year later. So it was quite hard. But during that bear market, I think I understood what Bitcoin was. It took a year, maybe 2 years before I got the basics. And then suddenly one day I just, wow, this is it. And I sold my stocks and got all into Bitcoin. Just suddenly it clicked.
So are you all in on Bitcoin? Obviously,
Yeah,
you have a
pretty
house.
much.
Yeah, but you figured out it's the best investment when you compare it against everything else over the long term.
Yeah, it feels so. And there's so much smart people in Bitcoin, so they can't have it wrong, I think. If I get bearish, I just watch some Sailor and Safeddin and yeah, and just get convinced again. So it's yeah, this must be it, I think.
That's very true. So when you went through that bear market, did you end up selling or did you just huddle down and learn more?
I didn't have that much at the time, but I've thought about selling almost every day. But I agree. I agree. I regret I didn't buy more because now I regret a lot. But I'm just happy I didn't sell. I think I just stayed convicted and learned more.
Well, that's a great start. You know, we all have different journeys, and if you didn't sell, that's a huge thing.
Yeah, I think
And
that's a win. So
yeah, yeah. My first time was in 2017. I bought at the top, and I sold. And it wasn't in self custody though. It was a different form, but it just taught me the lesson that if you don't understand an investment, then the lesson is understand the investment if possible, or buy now and then learn.
yeah, that's
Because
true. So it's a learning curve. You have to learn the hard
yeah,
way. But
yeah. And there's so much to learn. But before we get more into Bitcoin, tell me a little bit about Norway. You were telling me some very interesting facts that I didn't know, that there is quite high taxes there and productivity is down. Tell me what's happening there.
yeah, it's a lot to wrap our head around. But they released the new budget for next year this week, I think, and they was adding a new exit tax for rich people have to pay around 37% tax on their stocks on their assets when they want to move to Switzerland or whatever. So it's almost like a prison now. But we go and think that Norway is the best country in the world, but it's highly adaptable right now. It's starting to get a bit weird, I think.
So they're introducing this tax because they don't want the wealthy people to go.
Yeah, I think so. They need a tax revenue, but they say so. But they're increasing the state with a lot of bureaucracy and everything. So they need to feed the state. I think that's the story for every Western country, pretty much.
So even with your sovereign oil fund, the state still needs more money.
Yeah, we have a rule, a law in Norway that we don't. The budget cannot use more than 3% of the oil fund a year, and the rest have to be covered by taxes and fees and everything. I think it's around 3%.
You mentioned that because of your sovereign oil fund, that there is quite a good state welfare program. Do you think people rely on that more and more because they have no hope?
Maybe, but I think we get a bit lazy when we got the free doctors, free schools. It's no responsibility anymore, I think. And then maybe that's where Bitcoin comes in. You have to take responsible for yourself and eat better, read, study, take care of your money. But now you don't just have to show up at work and get paid and pay the mortgage and watch Netflix. So we get very, yeah, maybe lazy. I don't know, but you know what I mean, I think.
Well, you said something to me while we were chatting that bad money creates weak men and weak men create hard times.
Yeah.
How does that relate in this case?
Right now we had a lot. We had the Norway has been an excellent country for 50 years, maybe since we discovered oil. But now I think it's going the other way around. They're getting greedy and we're getting lazy, and it's no point of working hard anymore. You get taxes and inflation and yeah, everything. So I think it reached the top. So we maybe have to need a crash to reset and wake up, I think. And our leaders are very, very weak men, I think. Our financial minister he is educated a farmer. He's never been in finance before. That says a lot, I think.
Do you think it's a case, it's not just Norway, it's all around the world, that some people go into government with good intentions, but because they are so close to the money printer, they get corrupted?
Yeah, I think so. Everyone has good intentions, but when you try to manipulate or steer other people, it's not working. People must take responsible for themselves, I think. It's like the Keynes economics. You can't put a number on every people. You can't have an inflation number that's everyone is okay with. You can't decide how much money we should print. It's impossible. It's like the Austrians said, it's human action. Everyone is individual. So
Yeah, it's true. And I noticed on your X, you have fix the money, fix the world.
yeah.
So that implies that if we get sound money, the world can be a lot better place. Tell me what you mean by that.
Yeah, I have heard a lot of Alexander Svetsky on YouTube and read a lot of him, and he said that it's not the money doesn't fix it, but Bitcoin changes you. And if everyone feels that way, you get better at reading, studying, eating, exercising. You get a better person. And if everyone does that, you fix the world. I think you have to be the change you want to see in the world. That's my opinion. Everyone have to start with themselves and then just work the way around.
And in order to get there, you do have to have some hope, right? Because there are lots of people out there doing quite well. Some people enjoy their jobs, some don't. But people saving for the future are losing money because of inflation, right? So
Yeah.
that doesn't give us a lot of hope. But
No.
sound money, saving in Bitcoin, that gives us some hope.
Yeah, I think I walked around in the world in 35 years and not having any special hope. I just did whatever life showed me. And then I discovered Bitcoin, and then I finally have a mission in life. I'm starting to go to school. I'm eating better. I'm sleeping better. No alcohol. Yeah. I feel like a new person in many ways. So just
Good
to
for
give that
you.
little hope and some incentives, that's key for every human, I think.
Good for you. You mentioned that you're eating better, and I think I told you I always thought that the Scandinavian countries and Norway were very healthy, and you probably are healthier than America.
Yeah, I think everyone is more healthy than America.
But you still mentioned that there are a lot of people there that are eating seed oils and other hydrogenated oils and foods that aren't good for you.
Yeah, I think we are like Americans in slow motion or in miniature. I think we are getting there in the wrong place, I think.
So those bad products are creeping in all over the world.
Yeah, I think
Even
we have some more regulations in Europe and Norway, but we get the not the bad, worst versions, but we got some of it, I think. So, but the seed oils and the carbohydrates and the sugar and yeah, it's everywhere. So it's a bit scary, I think.
that's true, because those products make more money than the organic grown natural products.
Yeah, and it's easy to hide inflation by creating more cornflakes or more bread or more whatever. It's hard to print a cow or chickens. So
Yeah. I studied holistic health for over 20 years, and conventional farming, by putting hormones and antibiotics and having cows eat grain, grows them much quicker,
yeah,
whereas by treating a cow naturally eating grass takes much longer time to grow and to come to when they are ready for food.
yeah,
So
it's like
people,
proof of work in that area also. So
exactly, proof of
yeah, and
work.
I mentioned my father was a chicken farmer, and we get the chickens when they were just this small, and after 30 days they are like chicken fillets on two legs, just eating grains and water in 30 days. So it's a bit scary to watch.
So
So
even there, farming is,
yeah, the regular farming in Norway is also pretty industrialized, I think, at least in the chicken business.
yeah, yeah. It's much easier to profit that way, right?
Yeah, of course, it's like a factory. Just feed them grains on a sidewalk, and they just water, and then 30 days, and you got the chicken.
But now you have gone to a healthier way of eating.
Yeah, I'm not carnivore, but I eat more meat, more eggs, more butter. I eat some carbohydrates, but not that extent that I used to. Now I base my food on meat and eggs and milk and the basic stuff.
And as natural as possible.
Yeah,
Great. So you mentioned that in Norway, the government banned Bitcoin mining, or are going to. Is that true?
yeah. I haven't read too much about it, but I think they're gonna ban it because we have a energy crisis. We are exporting a lot of energy to Germany and UK, and then our electricity get very expensive, and then they got the money to build the wind turbines everywhere. So it's a plan to make the power very expensive, so they make the wind turbines profitable. And then they can't waste energy, and Bitcoin mining is wasting in some eyes.
Well, Bitcoin mining only mines when the energy is cheap, though, right? So this would
Yeah,
probably send them out of Norway anyway if it's too expensive.
yeah. It's in the north of Norway. It's quite cheap yet, but they're building cables, so it's going to be expensive there also. But
And
the
just
miners are very flexible, but I don't think Norway is the right country right now to be mining too much.
and just a question I have for you, with I heard that by 2025 Norway is going to have all electric vehicles, or only allow electric vehicles. Is that true?
Yeah, pretty much. I think I read a statistic this week, and the cars that have been sold this year is now 97% electric.
Wow.
So I don't like that. I think that you should be able to choose whatever you want. But now it's like a planned economy. It's central planning all over again.
Yeah, so you're being told what you can buy
Yeah,
because of green reasons,
yeah. I think the
but
green color is yeah. It's a big lie in many ways. I think so. That's a bit shame. Yeah,
even
using a
though
lot of money and make people more poor just because make the mother god or the planet happy. I don't think that's the right way.
can you explain that a little bit more? Because electric cars can be good for the environment, right?
Yeah,
And
I'm
I
sure.
and I get that you want a choice, but explain a little bit why you think the green initiative is not working so well.
It's all about the central planning again. I think the government choosing the winners, they have to be a lot more losers, and they are too late or too soon, or you get shortages and supply problems and everything. So I think you have to let nature evolve naturally, and let the technology, if the electric vehicles is the best technology, we should use it. But I don't think it's best yet. And the battery factories in Sweden and Norway are struggling with money, and so I don't think this is the right. It's going too fast, I think.
That's a good point. You remind me about, as Bitcoiners, we like freedom of choice, right? And we want a free market also. And a free market doesn't force you to buy an electric car.
And with and the fiat money, you can just pour money into the unsustainable factories and the green stuff that not going to work for the next 50 years, I think. So it's just the money has no cost anymore. The only cost is inflation, and that we have to suffer that.
That's true. Inflation. Do you notice inflation in Norway? Is it affecting you and your family?
Yeah. They don't have, my parent doesn't have my big mortgage, but the power policy with the exporting of energies, that's costing a lot, I think. They have some big farm buildings they have to keep warm in the winter. So that's a lot of expensive. And the food, of course. And our Norwegian currency is very devalued. It's almost worth nothing. So the thing we are importing isn't worth anything. Or the things we are importing are very expensive. So that's the way we get inflation.
So your currency used to be strong, but now it's going down because...
Yeah. I was in the United States about 10, 15 years ago. Then one Norwegian krone was, or $1 was about 5 Norwegian krone, and now it's 12. So it's all over doubled in 10 years. But I think they have a theory that they are devaluing the Norwegian currency to make the sovereign oil fund sound bigger on paper, so they can use more money in the budget. That's a conspiracy, but I don't know. It's a, but it's a interesting thought.
Do you think if more Norwegians understood what Bitcoin is, they might buy more Bitcoin?
Yeah, I think so. But we go in Norway and think we are the best country in the world, I think. We need a crisis before people get it, I think. Now it's just a fake internet coin that suddenly goes up and suddenly goes down. They don't know what it is, unfortunately.
So you don't have a lot of family and friends who are into Bitcoin like you are?
I've talked to them a lot about it, but I'm going to buy maybe as watch the price, and it's the same story for many. It's hard to when we're having a very good life. It's hard to make sudden changes, I think.
I have the same theory as you. I see people who are doing very well. They don't have such a big need for Bitcoin.
Yeah, why change now if things has worked out in 50 years? Why change now?
Right.
So
right.
They don't see the alarm clocks ringing yet.
Yeah.
And watching news so that's the same story everywhere, I guess.
Yeah, and for some people who really have a lot, they could get away with not having it. Obviously, they would preserve their wealth better if they got it sooner.
Yeah.
But they could get away with it. But you must be so happy that you got it. Tell us some more of the lessons that you have learned from Bitcoin.
I think broken money destroys many of our society, I think. Yeah, we just walked around, no goals, no hope, maybe just negative stuff on the media. We don't have any, I think no incentives in life. That's the scary part. And I listened to Seb Bunny on the Bitcoin for Millennials yesterday, I think. And he said everything is a downflow of money. So our money reflects everything we do in life, I think. It's our time, money, it's our food. It's everything.
I listened to that interview too. I thought that was excellent. In fact, I've listened to some parts twice. And I'm interviewing Bram next week.
Oh, that's nice.
But I particularly thought that one was an excellent interview.
You should also listen to Seb when he's at Robert Bridlow. That's also an amazing episode. I think I listened to that 4 times. So.
Wow. Yeah, he explains things very well.
Yeah, so easy and so precise. It's very, very amazing.
Yeah. You also mentioned low time preference.
Yeah.
What has changed for you with what you purchase?
Usually many people say that shopping is therapy. Maybe that was I was like running, and I was buying running shoes and new pulse watch and everything. But now I just see everything I buy will be much more expensive in Bitcoin in dollar terms next year, or yeah. So I'm just thinking about the future. The money I could spend now is worth a lot more in 5-10 years. And just now I got a very minimalistic lifestyle, I think. Just buying the good food and Bitcoin and yeah, better values in life, I think.
So what you're saying is, instead of putting it into shopping therapy, you're more likely to save it in Bitcoin.
Yeah. Just thinking for the long term. I have no kids, but I'm thinking for myself and thinking for the family, and yeah, just keep the money and yeah, just for an uncertain future. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that was a wonderful lesson for me. I was already stopping to spend so much because I could, when I go back between Miami and Zimbabwe, I can see how much more we have here. And I wanted to change that, but Bitcoin made sure I changed that because I just didn't want to be a consumer just to buy to have.
So it's very short term, and when you first see it, you can't unsee it. Then you
Yeah,
understand how stupid it is to do all those shopping, and yeah, it's just a wake up
that
call, I think.
that's true. That's true. That's a wonderful saying. When you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, and I study sustainable economics, and we talk a lot about the regulations and laws and more rules and everything, but we never talk about incentives. And I try to make them think about Bitcoin and sound money and the low time preference, but it's hard to get into them. But I'm trying.
Well, that must make for an interesting discussion. So, sustainable economics doesn't consider the incentives.
No, it doesn't consider money at all. It's just more regulations, and we have to, yeah, have to think about the nature and the green stuff. Yeah, it's just more regulations. Keep away from the diesel cars and buy electric cars, wind turbines, and it's going to save the world. And yeah, it's just very superficial, maybe is the word.
And do you think some people that you talk to get what you're saying? Or do you think it comes back
Yeah, I
to,
think so. With the instant gratification and the low type preference, I think they understand that we have to think long term. But I don't think they know what money is. We never learned that. What's money? What should money do? We just money is something we get from work and spend it. So I need to educate them about money. I think the basis first.
that's true. That's true. And like you mentioned, many people don't have enough pain, or we haven't had a crisis for them to go down that rabbit hole. Yeah, it's a very interesting dilemma.
So I'm
But the
going to
main,
write my bachelor, I think, about Bitcoin and the sustainable economics. I think to return it to Bitcoin.
tell us about that. How would you change it?
Change.
Well, you're going to write your thesis on
Yeah.
sustainable economics and Bitcoin.
Yeah, we talk a lot about the triple bottom line in the sustainable economics. It's about social, economics, and environmental. So I'm gonna try to argue that Bitcoin will fix all of those stuff. It's a more fair money. It's gonna very sustainable, less consuming, and it's gonna appreciate the value. So the economic stuff will take care of itself, I think. So it's a scarce resource. It's a scarce asset. I think it will fix everything. That's my thesis. So
I think you're right. It would fix a lot of things,
yeah,
especially it would at least fix the base layer.
I think
And
so. To fix our incentives and our thought process, I think, and then we all will be better humans and make better choices. It's things that starts that way, I think.
do you think also it'll be better for the entire world?
Yeah, I think so. We think long term, saving for the future, eating better, less consuming, creating value. Yeah, I think it's no lesser wars. Yeah, it's when you think about it, it should be so obvious, but it's hard for so many people still. But it's like a quick fix almost. Feel like a cheat code, maybe.
Did you ever get into the other coins and buy altcoins and the other part of
Yeah, like everyone else, I got some Ethereum and start. Yeah, it was cheaper than Bitcoin, and yeah, start that way. But it took some months, a year maybe before I understand that Bitcoin is the real deal.
And part of that journey that we take is part of why more people don't understand,
Yeah, I think so.
right?
The crypto has a bad rumor because of all those other coins, I think. Bitcoin is like the holy grail, and the other crypto is like, yeah, casino money or something.
Yeah, we all have our own journeys. But I think your paper sounds wonderful. Imagine you could get that into the Norwegian government and somebody paid attention.
Yeah, hopefully
Yeah.
I will get the teachers get some nice reading. So I'm not going all
Yeah.
safety in, but gonna write what I think. So I don't care too much about the grade. I just want to educate people.
And hopefully you get an open minded teacher.
Hopefully, maybe I get some thought process going. That's the important thing. Make people think a bit. It's pretty obvious when you think about it, but people don't know what money is. They think that our money is that's the way it should be, the fiat money. But inflation is just natural. That's so weird.
I know. I had no idea that inflation was actually theft. And governments have no reason to educate people on this because that's the system that they run on, right?
Yeah, inflation feeds the state. It's like a balloon or it's like a bubble, just getting bigger and bigger. So in
Yeah,
Norway, we pay about 67% taxes before inflation.
67% taxes in
Yeah, with
Norway.
all the fees and the income tax and the property tax and everything. And we
Wow,
still got the oil. So you can imagine they got a lot of money in the hands of our government. So it's crazy.
that is incredible.
Yeah.
67%. And generally, you're still one of the best countries in the world and one of the happiest countries, too, right?
Yeah, the statistics say so, but I think maybe the whole world is getting more unhappy, but we still top. We're not going that steep yet.
Yeah.
I think so.
And I think one of the key things is yes, your government and your might be doing better than many, but there's still a better way. Bitcoin is a better way.
Yeah, I think so. At least the less government spending and don't treat the money like it was just paper. Money has to be have some value, I think. Now they're just spending money every fourth year and selling their message like a car salesman. It's just like a circus.
You
It's
know,
very
I
short-sighted.
it is. I heard the other day Anthony Pompliano said that when people are taxed too much, productivity goes starts to go down.
Yeah, when they talk about incentives again, I think you don't get any reward by working hard or making a new business or something. You just be average. You just tax to death almost.
Hmm.
But this week we got we got a tax relief from the Norwegian government. We got about 1 cent a day less taxes.
1 cent a day.
Yeah, they was promising less taxes for the people, but we got about 1 cent per day. So it's about few hundred Norwegian crowns. That's just a joke. So, but it's sad,
Well,
but I think they just watch a big number. It's 4 billion or something, but they don't think about how much per person,
that's true.
and
And that comes
that's
down to 1 cent a day, which doesn't help
yeah.
anybody.
I can't quit my job yet.
Well, you have Bitcoin, so
Yeah, give me 10 years, so maybe.
yeah, because what people don't realize is you have to have the right amount of money to sustain you under Norwegian levels, right? And that's what you're planning for.
Yeah, I think so. Or maybe buy a house or something in another country. I don't know. It depends how bad it gets here, but I would like to move to somewhere warmer.
I can understand that. Any ideas of where you'd move?
I don't know. El Salvador looks promising, but I think everyone is moving, so maybe it's getting more expensive there also. But I don't know. Maybe Suriname with the president there. I don't know. It's a lot of countries that the small countries will benefit from Bitcoin a lot. I think the big and rich countries will be late to the party.
Well, it's good to have options, right?
Yeah,
And with freedom money, we have options.
yeah. At least to have a plan B. I think that could be nice. Soon we get taxes 100%, and then just yeah, it's hopeless.
100%. That would be an experiment.
Yeah, I think almost every new job was created this fall is government jobs. So they're not creating anything. They're just moving papers and so it's a bit, and that will make the productivity go very low.
Low productivity, the government, I can't even imagine. So that is not freedom, right? Being
No,
taxed
that just
100%, being given the money and being told basically where to spend it.
a Swedish politician, I think he said once that Norway was the last Soviet state. So he has a good point, I think. It's starting to look like that now.
Wow. Well, on that note, what does freedom mean to you?
That's a good question. I was reading a bit about Hans Hermann Hoppe about the democracy the other day, and the basic human right is to be left alone. So I think about that a lot. Just leave me alone and let me work and feed my family and save in Bitcoin and just have a happy life without taxes and laws. Laws are okay, but the fees and everything is starting to be a bit crazy.
That's
I
interesting.
think people just want to be left alone in many ways. Just they want to create value, support the family, have a house, the easy stuff. We don't want to buy stocks and trade and fight inflations. We just want to have a simple life.
Yeah. Left alone to do what they want to do with their money, go
And a
where they
strong
want to
property
go.
right, with a strong property right, and just have their own house and
Yeah. And with fiat money, we're forced to invest in companies like Google and Tesla because that's the only way to beat inflation. But
yeah.
if we were on a Bitcoin standard, you don't have to invest.
No, you just have to buy Bitcoin every day or every week on finished. You don't have to research the common best stock this year or this next year it's a bit easier. You
Yeah.
can sleep good at night with Bitcoin.
Yeah. Keep some of the discretionary spending towards Bitcoin instead of spending everything, because even though people don't realize it, when our money, and Seb Bunny said this, when our money is losing value today, we have much more incentive to spend it today rather than
Yeah,
save it.
our
Yeah.
money isn't worth anything. It's just the numbers on our telephone, or it just we don't know what money is.
Well, and you don't have to worry. You can just live off the government if you
Yeah,
spend
yeah.
all your money.
So we got no incentives to work so anymore. We just get some welfare, and I think
Yeah.
almost half of the Norwegian population got some welfare last year. In another way, a pensioner or sick leave or it's a lot of money.
Yeah. And when I spoke to James Lavish this week, he said that, our social security in America will run out by the time he retires and by the time I retire, but they'll probably print more money. So you'll get your social security with that 3% increase, but the rate of inflation, real inflation, is going to be much higher, right? So
Yeah, it
that's why
just
we need
it's so
Bitcoin.
crazy when you think about it. How dangerous it's people's lives you are playing with. I think it's scary.
Yeah, and that most people just go along with it.
Yeah, and people just want to, as I said, work and have a happy life, and the government are just playing with our destiny and lives. And
Yeah, and
it's,
creating wars and all of
people
that.
should be more angry than they are. I think.
I think so. I just don't think because it's so confusing, people don't put it all together.
No, that's the scary part. I think it's
We're
bread and
in the
circus.
system.
So,
It's what? A circus?
it's bread and circus. Like the old Romans, they are serving as circus and bread, and you don't watch all the bad stuff going on.
Yeah, that's true. And they give us things to distract us.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I on your X account you post mostly obviously in Norwegian. What do you like
yeah.
to post about?
About the bad stuff going on in Norway that people doesn't know about. I think all the small things, politics, government spending, new rules, and Bitcoin, of course, because I think Bitcoin will fix most of it. Try to tie it against that way. So
And have you found that you have got some people in Norway that are understanding what you're saying?
maybe I think, but I think there's a lot of skeptics around, and it's hard to convince them. But I just want to make people think a bit, to make their own opinion, and then get some skin in the game. But it's hard to push them a little bit. Hopefully, someone got convinced.
Yeah, and you just remind me, a lot of people might come in once Bitcoin reaches 100,000,
Yeah,
maybe for the wrong reason, but
it's easy to get on the top and then just and then it crashes 50, 60, 70%, and then I am the bad guy for convincing them. So
well, and that's why we never give investment advice, right?
no,
The
study
because what
study Bitcoin.
Yeah, we all say if you're going to buy Bitcoin, I suggest you study it
Yeah. So
and really.
if they understand gold and how that's money, they should understand Bitcoin because that's better money.
That's true.
Just better compute money on the computer, but it's yeah,
Yeah, in the 21st century, we are on the internet and computers, and
it's like
gold
portable
is
gold in the digital age or something. It's very
exactly.
logical if you think about it, but it's hard for many people because they see the ups and downs a lot and all the crypto guys and everything.
Yeah, it's very important to understand the volatility, and
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to do here. Get the word out. I love talking with Bitcoin people, and the more people learn, the better before they
yeah.
buy.
It's like Jeff Booth said, I think, follow the signal through the noise or something, or find the signal in the noise.
Yes,
I think that's a good
I
point.
I love that statement. Finding signal in a noisy world.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's a good point. And then Bitcoin is very obvious. Then you see the signal. It's very obvious. It's like a light signal in the ocean, I think. Just follow the orange light.
Well, keep up the good work. I think one day people will look back and will see that we are on the right track because of all the
Hopefully.
wonderful things that Bitcoin stands for. It stands
Yeah.
for a fairer world, a better world, gives us hope. Anything you'd like to add?
No, I think everyone wants the world to be better, but we think Bitcoin will make the world better. But people doesn't understand how Bitcoin will make the world better yet. But one day they will.
And I think you made a good point. In order to understand, you must understand money first.
Yeah, the properties of money and what broken money does
Yeah.
and what inflation really is. It's just more money in the system, and that makes every other currency worth less. It's that easy. It's not like blame Putin or blame the grocery store or blame the neighbor, blame the government or banks.
Yeah. And the incentives behind broken money.
Yeah.
So, what else are you passionate about?
Oof, I think Bitcoin takes all my time. Bitcoin I'm studying, but I like football, the soccer, European soccer, a lot, but that's not so interesting anymore since I find Bitcoin. It's just a waste of time. So I rather reading and YouTubing and podcast and just trying to become a better person. I'm trying to improving myself in different ways. That's my passion, I think. I never done that before until I find Bitcoin. So it's a bit strange, but I find my passion, I think.
So, it's fair to say that Bitcoin changed your life.
Yeah, it's turned it upside down almost.
That's
So
wonderful.
that's it's amazing that the internet coin could do that, but it's the incentives are so important, I think. Have something to wake up for in the morning, something to work for, something, just to improve. So it's like Jordan Peterson said, clean your room first. So it's a good point, I think.
Clean your room first.
Yeah,
That's
be the change that you want to see in the world. It's so small that those quotes are very nice, I think.
I love that. What a great place to end. Well,
Yeah,
thank you so much for joining me
yeah, my
today,
pleasure.
Bjorn.
Very nice. Better than I was expected. Yeah, I was a bit nervous, but it's all right.
You did great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.